Hello, hi, good evening. Welcome to what am I? Welcome to the peptosynthesis theory. And right now, I am going to be doing a trade recap on my first week of my funding challenge, and it's very bad. It's the type where you're not supposed to copy it. So I'm telling you the stuff that you're not supposed to do. Right, and the local time is very late. It is 2 a.m. for me. It's just that I should sleep, but I promised to do a trade recap and it's been long overdue. So here we go. I will just be setting up my screen just to make sure. Okay, so we're switching over to my screen right now. There we go. So here is the conclusion or the overview of my first week. Is that I was very bad. I had all the wrong behaviors. I had all the wrong attitude that you could think of to make the worst possible trader, and the wrong mentality and everything like that. So do not copy this example, but it's good to know what example it is not to copy. Okay, so there are 11 trades here. I know, right? It is over trading. But so how we're gonna do this is that I'm just gonna go over each position. Some position has like 3 entries on them or 2, but whenever I talk about what's bad about it, what's positive about it, is just regarding the picture that is in the middle of the screen where my arrow is pointing at. Okay, and on the writing side of things, we have on the screen here where we have 2 sections. As you can see, we have a gap here, and so the first side with the heading of notes is the negative side, and the positive side is on the right side. So this is the positive side of the particular scenario, and this is the this is the negative side of the particular scenario, and this is the positive side of the particular scenario. And just to give you a heads up, there's hardly anything positive about this trade. So if you're someone who already is aware of what not to do, then you don't have to watch it. I thank you for clicking and opening the video, and yep, good evening, good afternoon, goodbye, thank you. All right, so for those of you who are staying, we are going to start right now. So this is trade 1 of 11, or yeah. So as you can see, I used this candle as basically my entry, meaning that if you guys have any idea of any trade strategies, or if you've already done a course, what you're supposed to do as a profitable trader is that you're supposed to wait for confirmations before taking a trade. Now, how this works on the trade recap that we're doing right now is that the arrow on the example that is blue is where I enter, right, pointing to the right. The arrow pointing to the right is where I enter. If it's blue, that means it's a buy or a long position. If it's red, that means it's a sell position. But I will note what we're doing right now in that particular scenario. Now, if you see the left side, the right side of it, and this is a red arrow pointing to the left. That means that is the level where I close the trade. This blue thing right here is the take profit, intended take profit that I set. If you don't see it, that means I did not set any take profit. And here is the bomb of all them, of all the what, I've lost the plot. Okay, so this one right here, the red line, is where the stop loss is. Now when you're a trader, you're supposed to have a stop loss so that you can manage risk, because you don't want to be blowing your whole account in, like, you know, bloody one trade. But I almost did that last week, right? So entries where I close, take profits, and stop losses, right? So in this particular trade, the bad thing about it is that my risk reward is just like stupid, and where I took the profit is just stupid also, because look at that. To make 1%, it should be up to there, but my take profit is already less than 1%, and my where I close my trade is like 25%. And like some trades you can get away with it, and it can still be a good trade if managed properly. But this is me also buying high. Now when you have a trending trade, you're not supposed to buy at a high price. You're supposed to buy at a lower price for it, you know, if to anticipate the going up, so that you can capitalize on that. Otherwise, the tendency is that as soon as you enter, you're gonna be at minus. You know, you're already risking your account. So this is a very bad example of how not to enter trades. To be better, right? I should have used this. I should have waited for this candle, and so this should have been my, like, or actually this should have been my more appropriate entry. But still, this is just me buying high, and it's just bad. Okay, now as you can see, I did say confirmation is not valid because I did not wait. I was very impatient last week, and you will see a repetition of that throughout the 11 trades that I took that were very bad. The positive thing is that on this trade is that, did I cut any losses? Well, I took some take profits actually. Risk management, I did not cut any losses. I took profit. Is that the blade? Should I have taken profit there? Well, at the end of the day, I managed to secure profit. I did not lose in this particular trade, but it's a very bad example. It could have gone wrong many ways, right? Now, example number 2, we have the this trade where again I did the same thing. I think this is a re-entry. So as you can see right there, it's basically this trade right here, but I went in, I re-entered again, like I think there. So it's even worse because I literally just went for a buy at the highest price. Like, if you think about it, if you want to buy something, you want to buy it cheap, right? And if you want to sell something, you want to sell it at a high price. Like if you're a vendor selling cookies, you want to be selling your cookies at a good high price, and if you're a consumer, you want to be buying a cheaper price. So basically that's just me being a stupid vendor and and customer buying expensive stuff, like with no money to blow. Like, you don't do that. So once again, buying high is the bad thing about this. And basically I just lost more than what I earned because my take profit lot sizes, my lot sizes were also fucked last week. Like, they were very bad. I had the calculation in my head, I had it written down, but I did not appreciate its true value, and I did not I was not grateful to have that resource and knowledge. I just did not apply and execute with it, and that's why I am suffering with a drawdown on my funding challenge account. I'll tell you the stats later. And again, this is basically a re-entry on the same trade, like actually it's a cutting of losses of the same trade, so that's a good thing. At least I did not let my account to get blown to pieces right away. I cut losses. Now, third trade is that, this is just going to be repetitive, but it's important to me to actually say it out loud and make sure I don't do it again. And basically, I just sell at a low price. Like I said, you don't do that. If you're a vendor, you're selling at a high price so you can have profits, right? Ideally. And I did not do that, and so I also got stopped out. I had no form of risk management whatsoever, and I just let price take me out, even though it was foreseeable. And look, I'm trying to sell, right? And I entered on a green candle, on a buying candle. Like, it's just, what the F? Mind-blowing type of stupidity right there. Yep. And and this is my trade number 4. Basically, as you can see, not even a minute has passed, not even one candle has passed, and I just went ahead and took more trades. So this is by trade number 4 of last week. I was already over trading, like literally this is day 1. So it's just absolutely, like, do not do that, seriously. This is what we're talking about. And once again, I sold at low, but the only positive thing about this trade is that I at least waited for a red candle. But still, it's just stupid, it's illogical, and it's a confirmation on like the first form of resistance to sell low. So it doesn't even make sense either. And the worst thing about this is that, once again, I did not cut any losses. I just hope and hope and hope that miracles gonna appear and save me from the market. I think that's what's happening with my brain. But seriously, just don't do it. Yeah. Number 5. This is me buying on a high again, right? Okay, what's new about this is that I at least waited for a green candle, but it's not even a candle, it's literally a doji, which is a neutral type of indication of whether the price is going to go up or down. But it just shows impatience, and even if I waited for something green, I still entered on a red candle, and no form of trade management on risk cutting losses whatsoever. So there we go, another repetitive scenario happening. And once again, literally the same scenario on trade 6, where I bought high and I used a red candle for a confirmation. Like, I'm trying to go long, I'm trying to go up for price to go up, but I use a selling candle as my confirmation. It's just absolutely shameful and embarrassing. But I'm like shaming right now, so I don't do it again. And it's good for, I guess, your educational purposes too, if you're learning how to trade. So just enjoy and laugh at me if it helps your future. I do mean it. It sounds like a joke, but yeah, use my mistakes as something to work towards of not doing and to improve yourself, right? Okay, now this is my first like logical trade, but my entry on this trade is a little bit, well, it's just irresponsible to have done an impulsive entry on this trade. That just means that as price is going up, I'm entering, given that I have enough evidence and I have enough like variables and information to make that a valid decision making. But so but I wasn't like, I haven't absorbed this lecture well enough from my strategy course, and for me to just enter on a whim just because I've heard like of it and I've watched like 20%. Well, I have watched it like many times, but to actually absorb the idea, I have not done that. So that was just very irresponsible to try a strategy or an entry that I'm not the most familiar with at this point in time on my funding challenge account. Like, don't do that. That's totally irresponsible, and it just gives you palpitations or anxiety because, you know, not knowing it gives you less confidence. Having less confidence in a super important trade, especially a challenge that's potentially going to change your life, like, don't do it, right? The good thing here is that I managed to secure profit though, and the good thing is that I actually entered on a green candle you know, to go on a buy, and stop loss is there. Now this is part 2 of that trade, and I managed to take more profits 3 times there, and I also did some risk management where I put my stop loss at above my entry, meaning that if price did touch it, then, which I think it eventually did, I'm not sure, did it get stopped out? No, I think I closed the trade. But yeah, in case it did drop down to this level right here, a wick or whatever, a body of candle, then I wouldn't have lost that much. I wouldn't have lost money. I would have gained a few. And so that's a positive on that. And the good thing here is that I was able to do some risk management of adjusting trailing stops to decrease and protect my risk. Again, a repetition of my bad habits and bad attitude, bad mentality is that I was selling low and not waiting for confirmation. And I think this is another impulsive entry. Like, I should have waited for a candle to close at this point, but you know, this is a consolidating area. Why the hell did I do that, right? You know, it just doesn't make sense with what I know now this week. It just doesn't make sense. It's just, yeah, bad. This trade is, this particular scenario is me over trading. As you can see, multiple entries, multiple positions, different trades on, like, literally, do we have time here? Between 9 to 11. So London Open to pre-New York. Like, who does that? I mean, I would never do that ever again, because now I know. Like, these times are actually, you know, the times where you have already lost momentum, or it's already, like, you know, a down kind of consolidatory type of time of day, and it just doesn't make sense to execute a strategy that relies on high volume and high volatility on a low volume resting period of the day. Like, it's just like, now I just feel bad, like you know, all the effort of my mentor telling us to do not do that, do not do this, and I did it for like a whole week. But hey, I'm recognizing my retardedness from last week, and I'm willing to change all of that. Hence, I am going over this painstaking task of explaining to you what not to do. Now, I hope I'm charging. Am I charging? Cool. I am currently charging now, and I did have, do I have any form of risk management? None at all, actually. None. It's just bad. Everything about this scenario is just bad. Bad decision making, selling low, selling high. You can see that. Buying at a high. Oh, I actually did have a risk management here where I cut my loss early. But yeah, so I did not let price to go all the way down to my stop, meaning losing more money. I lost more money manually, given that I saw no hope in this trade. And yeah, so don't overtrade. And see, this is the worst thing about me. I just did a wonderful thing here, cutting of losses, and it's just like I just disappeared from that mentality and just went back to being stupid. Like, no form of cutting losses here whatsoever, no form of risk management, which is probably the most important skill when you're trading, especially as a beginner. You know, it's just like, I have no words. Now, 10 out of 11, trade number 10 out of 11. So last two is once again me selling low, but I think I'm starting to cut some losses here, so that's a good sign. And lastly, I mean, nothing. Yeah, so one thing that's good to say about it is I'm starting to cut losses. And my last trade of last week was that I made a minor income, minor profit that unfortunately will not cover any of my losses to end the week. But I at least started securing profits. I have a much better stop loss, you know, considering like a resistance level. Although I'm still buying high, like it's still stupid. And yeah, an entry, type of entry that I don't have much knowledge about, like pure irresponsibility. Now, as an overview of my trades last week, here are the negatives: overtrading, buying high, selling low, doing inexperienced entries, no form of risk management, stop loss being illogical, take profits being like illogical, weak candle as confirmation. And obviously, because I was performing like shit, I started having tantrums at home. And yeah, you know, seriously, like full on tantrums. I'm not gonna describe it because then I might cry to sleep. Positives is not a lot, not even 50%, is that, you know, I had some form of inconsistent risk management. Like, that's not really a positive thing, but I at least started having some of it. For example, the cutting of losses to some of them, but it's super inconsistent because I didn't apply it to every trade, right? And trailing stop like probably once, because well, I only had one opportunity to do any of that. Well, actually I have two, but I did not trail stop here, maybe because I just closed the trade. But yeah, so need to practice more of that. And I am attempting at least to wait for a confirmation. That just means that I tried waiting but did not wait. So it's still really a negative. But at least, I had to like just kind of encourage myself that I at least started waiting. So all I had to do now was to actually execute and really wait. So that's that. And the other positive is that I started securing profits, which is, at the end of the day, if you do that, even if you earn 1 cent, then you did not lose. You earned 1 cent. It's more than zero and more than a negative. So that's probably the only thing that's really positive here. Now, was it a logical, consistent securing profit strategy? Hell no, far from it. And so, yeah, but at least I've started to do something positive. Now, statistically, I had 3 wins out of 11 and 8. Oh shit. And 8 losses out of 11. That gives me probably a less than 13% win rate. So for example, if I took 10 trades, I would only win 3 times. And because my risk reward is like super shit, then I would not be able to cover for any of my losses or even touch it. Now last week was actually I'm gonna count Monday as well, because Monday this Monday, because I did some stupidity. But before Tuesday my account was -8, right? So on to the second week of my funding challenge, given that I only have 4 weeks, or aka 20 days to complete the challenge and gain plus 8%. I managed to do the complete opposite of having a minus 8%. So now in order to at least retry the challenge, I would have to make back 8% of my account in the next, including tomorrow. If I do New York Open tomorrow, then that's 11 days. So wish me luck to actually execute my plans and to stay sane and to stay patient. Yeah. And so I got now, because of how I behave, now I have a massive setback, right? So after my trading week of stupidity and irresponsibility, I had plans for the weekend just gone that I must review risk management, impulsive entries, buying at support, and simple setups like the other simple setup, like selling at resistance. Like that's super simple. This is basically the setup of the opposite of buying high and selling low. So yeah, I had to re-review that, and literally, how I did it was that I would listen to the course lectures until I would fall asleep, like all day, and then I would be in bed. I'd have it playing in the background and I just fall asleep on it, to the point where I've been dreaming about the bloody strategy, to the point where I'm dreaming about my mentor like in front of me on a whiteboard. And like, wow, like I went a little bit like cuckoo over the weekend, but that's because I wanted to make some major changes, and I had a lot of major changes to change. Simple, but that's what I had to do in order for me to change and be at least a little bit more successful than that week's performance. Now, as I'm recording this and as I am live right now on the 11th of June, Friday, I am exactly March, April, May, June, 26 and 4 months old today. Oh my gosh, I was born at 117, so just a little bit, a few hours older than 26 and 4 months. Anyway, so yeah, I guess this is a good mark for, you know, Ange trying to change, being more responsible compared to last week. But yeah, I've already executed the plans actually from Tuesday. Well, I did it on my second trade of Monday much properly. That's the trade where it finally got probably absorbed into my nerve cells, all of them, most of them, at least 99% of my current nerve cells, where I said to myself, this is it, make or break, you must change or you're not gonna get anywhere. And that's when I just started moving forward. And so I stopped over trading. I've been taking only one trade a day, and I've been respecting my risk allowance from like my second trade on Monday, and literally just risking 0.75% of my 1% risk, if that makes any sense. For example, if I was trading at $100,000 account, then normally you would risk 1% of that per day, and so I'm only risking $750, you know, just to have a little bit of buffer. And I have been calculating my risks pre-session. I have been doing that, but I need to work on some of them, especially after today's, or the 10th of June's New York session, where I did a little bit of boo-boo, where I forgot to add and consider the spread of my brokers. Yeah, and I started definitely identifying logical setups, like literally, you know, is this a trade where I am not buying high? Is this a trade where I'm not buying low? So basically, I'm trying to cancel out all of that, right? The illogical side of things, where I would put my stops like, you know, candle is here, for example, right? And my stop now is over here instead, compared to where I've been putting him, like, you know, 10 miles away from the stop. Like, it's just a massive stop loss. It's not worth it. So yeah, I've just been respecting my stop loss just underneath my confirmation candle, and I've been taking profits at appropriate levels using higher time frame structure. So, you know, that's the best thing you could possibly do. One of the best things you could possibly do. And yes, I have been patiently waiting for confirmations to appear in my direction. For example, if I'm buying, I'd be waiting for a green candle. And even better, I've been waiting for, if I'm buying, I'd be waiting for support to form like this, and then for a green candle to go into my direction, and then I would enter from there. So much more logical and much more responsible way of trading. And yeah, probably this is my favorite part of this week, week 22, that I've been managing to apply, is cutting losses and trailing stops. I have been doing this, and I have evidence of it because I've been live trading from Wednesday and yesterday. So that is why I party and I get happy when I do any type of risk management, because clearly my previous week of trading I did no such thing. And yeah, I'm just happy that I'm no longer like stupid Ange and irresponsible Ange. Now, the last thing that I wanted to work on this week, and I have been successfully doing, is securing profits, right? And they've been at logical areas, so definitely I've been doing that. Probably out of all of this, I just need to work on calculating my risks and having much better and logical entries. Like, they're not as bad as last week's, like far from bad. They're, you know, acceptable, but I feel that I can do much better. And so that is it. That is the end of this trade recap. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm just gonna go into the outro section of things. And yeah, so so far, I mean, I still have one session for tomorrow, and then I will have my final results of whatever the hell I did this week. And so far I'm on the positive, so made $400 on Wednesday, some more dollars on the Tuesday, and a break even, well, a $14 gain from my New York session on the 10th, which is yesterday, or probably 12 hours ago. Yeah, so 12 hours ago I had my last profit. And so this week has been quite positive and super stoked with that. Currently I am at -7%, so I have now, including tomorrow's New York session, I have 11 days to potentially work my way back into having a free retake of the challenge. So the goal is to basically reapply all of these and to the upcoming weeks or days that's left of my challenge, and to continually write down notes, refining where I can do better each time. And yeah, if you watch my 2 previous live streams, I've been telling myself like, okay, next time I'm gonna do this, next time I'm gonna do that. For example, yesterday, 12 hours ago with my New York session, I said that I will be working on my risks, calculation of risk more accurately, and I'll be working on my entry routine. So that's me trying to change, and I feel quite stoked that, you know, I'm no longer sketchy, and I'm starting to become my imaginary future Ange, who is a consistently profitable trader. So that's all for tonight's recap. I'm sorry to my body, my brain, for not letting me sleep, having to do this before I go to sleep, stressing over it, because I don't know, now I actually feel good. Now I feel sleepy. It's good. I am now on autopilot because I'm sleepy. So I should say goodbye and end the video. For those of you who might see this during Asian section, during the Asian session just now, or it's probably finishing, good luck and all the best with your trading. And also, I'm gonna be waking up late tomorrow because I need to you know, make up for my lack of sleep from now. And so I will be missing out on the London session, and so good luck also on your London session. Good night. See you tomorrow at New York session. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.